All right. Continuing working on this project. And so last time I had an error, and the error was, let me see what I can pull it up. Async object is not iterable. And that error's been fixed. But a couple things I want to say really quick before I get into that. So over here I had like a bunch of changes. Um, and these two folders have a .git folder, so they're like for the repositories that I cloned, and that's why it's showing changes in the first place. I said something in a previous stream like, oh, VS Code server setup repositories or something, but it's because I cloned these. Um, also, yeah, I had a bunch of changes, and those changes were because showing, and those were just line, end of line sequence changes. So they were all using /r/n, which is like Windows style, instead of the /n. So they were CRLF carried return line feed. So carried return is /r line feed, I believe is n. I think that's right. Something like that. Anyways, you could change the file types here back and forth if you want to, and it'll fix those line endings and save them. There's other tools to change a bunch of them quickly. Like find and replace could work in some editors, or maybe VS Code too. I don't know. Anyways, so that fixed that issue. Now you can see I only have a couple changes, which are the actual changes I made. Another thing too was, I think that was it actually that I wanted to go over. It wasn't related to the project. So this error, I read it and it was something, I don't remember if there's more information, but yeah, async generator object is not iterable. And I found, these answers that said use async for, and that's what I ended up doing, but I was doing it in the wrong place. So I was doing it down, let me go in the other view. I was doing it down here, or no, right here. I also tried some other places, and that didn't work. And that also didn't match up with it didn't match up with what the message was saying. So I believe what this means is this returns a generator. Pretty sure that's what that means. Let me double check that. I think it's a type annotation on Python. Let me double check. Yeah, it takes a string and returns a string. So yeah. So that returns a generator. This function. So when it said async generator object is not iterable, they meant whatever that function returned. And that's actually being used in my main.py. I'm using optimize. So that's the function right there. So that's returning the generator, and that's being used in this for loop. So that's where I needed async for. So that fixed that issue. I'm running into another issue. Let me just run it really quick. I forgot where we left off. So we clicked. I don't remember what's actually printing that out right now, but um, yeah, so the current error we have is object has no attribute split. So the big issue right now is, let me close this. Oh, do I need this? Not right now. Well, really quick, I'm going to go over some of the other issues I ran into afterwards. So another thing I ran into is, I think the first thing it said was after I added async here, it said you cannot use await unless you're inside, or was it async? You cannot use async or whatever inside of a non-async function. I believe that was the error, something like that. And to be able to use top level await, or I guess async as well, async for inside of inside of Pyodide, you need to run Python async instead of just run Python. So I had to change that. That fixed that issue. I think I made a few changes in here I'll go over. Another issue I had after that was I was getting this error where it said object none type can't be used in a wait expression. So where was that? Um, yeah, that was here. So process MPS file. So that's all the way back. Is it here? It's here. So that error, I looked it up and basically I needed to make, if you have a wait here, you need to make the function that you call in JavaScript async. So that fixed that error. And the guy down here says, I also got the same error when I called a wait on a non-async function. So that fixed that. I just had to put the async there, fixed it. And what else? Let's go through these tabs really quick. So this is the current issue I'm dealing with. Let's see if there's anything else. Yeah. Let me go over the code changes. I think there is a little bit of refactoring. Let me just double check. So did I talk about, yeah, I think I talked about Pyodide being up there globally. Yeah, that was before. Oh, and I had to add async here as well when I did await here as well. So, I don't think, let me go in here. So I talked about that. This was, or still is printing, I think. Double check. Maybe not. I think we're getting further than that. I don't know. Or no. Something else is happening inside this call right here. This was printing before because it was like returning. Now it's not returning because there's an error. And then let's come back to that. So I don't remember if I showed this or not, but this I had commented out because it was not ready to go, and now I have it. Um, now I have it not commented. This I think is not gonna work. But this is not gonna work. But I'll get back to that. Test status. That's just a test message. All right, so before, I don't remember if I was just calling that or I was passing something, but now what I'm doing is when I'm calling this process MPS file, I'm passing the path to the MPS file, which probably going to need to work with a little bit because things are, well, I'll explain that in a minute, actually. So this I already talked about. So the only change I think there was that. Let me double check this. Lineup optimizer. So, and then to use that, I had to add async there. Let's see. And solve problem dot solve. Okay. And I think this was also printing out before the status, the test status that I had, but yeah, I brought some code back in and now it's not showing because it's having an issue here. All right. I think that was it. And then back to this. Oh no, write MPS. So I was looking at write MPS, and this is something I actually might need to do now. So write MPS, what that does is if we, let me search for it here. Yeah, that's the only place it is right there, but it's right here. It's in this file is where it's called. And in here, it eventually starts writing to a file, which I kind of assumed it would work without this without any setup. So It doesn't. So I had to look back in here and see why. So it's definitely not writing the file. Because if we do, let me see, did I have something that was logging that out? FS write file. So yeah, from within here, if we do console.log, actually no, we don't need to do that. So it should have already written the file, right? In this run here, and then we could do pyodide.fs.read err, and you can see that pulp is there. What is that actually? Um, is it just, let me see what this is. Oh, okay, so those are the Python files. Right, okay, cool. So that's the Python code that runs. Uh, it's done for us by Pyodide, I believe, when we import it. So all that's left is, I mean, these are just those libraries, and then the one that we created. So in JavaScript for the CSV. So yeah, you can see it's not in there. So it's not actually writing the file at all. Um, in this line up here, I think it's called. So, and I'm surprised it actually doesn't cause an error. I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't write the file. And I don't think this error here, let me see. Yeah, this error here is not the same. This is actually after it's trying to read the solution. So what we are doing though is, does it create a temp folder? So what we are doing is passing the file path. You can see that here being logged out. Passing that back to this JS function, which is here. And that's being logged out here. So let me think about this. So we need to pass this along. I mean, there's two things we could do here. We could just get the text returned back to us in that call. Instead of writing the file, we'll just create a string. I think I might go that route. Um, Actually, the reason I don't want to go that route is, well, no, I might still go that route. I gotta think about it. So there's a few ways to do this. One way is to pass back a string to the file path and then just the string of the problem, or yeah, of the MPS file data that's passed into this worker. And this worker, um, so this worker would receive that message as part of the message, and it would run solve LP. Instead of passing in the file, it would pass in the MPS file data. So whatever's in the MPS file, it would instead just pass that. But in order to get that to work, and I looked at this before, I would have to make some modifications to the C++ code again, which might be okay, but I think I looked at this. I'm actually not going to look at it right now. I'm going to try to avoid that route and actually get it to write a file. Maybe. But the issue with that is, well, before I talk about that, so going back to the passing the string in there. So if you pass the string into the C++ code, I have to modify that. And then we are passing the solution back from the C++ code. So that's actually not a big deal. And that's happening in worker, which is here. And it's posting a message back to, oh, this is where that log's happening. So it's posting a message back into back here, and it, I guess, logging out there. Try to publish that. Just want to double check that without the other part logging out. So you have to wait for this to load, and I'll have a better setup obviously when I'm further along. So yeah, the return value is the pointer, right? So actually, um, do I have access to this function outside of the worker? No, because it has the minimum. Well, could, but then I'd have to like import minimum, right? So I don't want to do that. So I actually want to call this right now, ut, or no, return string instead of return value. Yeah. Uh, solution data, we'll call it, I guess. Or solution, yeah, data, that's fine. And then I have to rename the other thing too, actually. Return value, solution data. So this is coming back from the C++ function as a pointer, and then we're converting that pointer to a string, a JavaScript string, and then passing it back here. And it will be logged out right here. So let's see. I gotta publish too, right? Okay. Yeah, there we go. So now it has all this stuff. Cool. I don't know why it doesn't read further over. No. So yeah, that's that. So that's one option. But then again, I have to change the C++ code to instead of read files, which it's already set up, you know, that's the way it's set up to do. I don't think there is a function right now that will read a string instead of a file. So I think that'll be some changes. Quite a few changes if I have to do that. But let me look really quick. So if I look in here, examples, is this where I'm working out of? I think so. So in here, yeah, this is it, I think. So this calls, let's look again what this looks like. So read MPS file, I think. Where is that? Read MPS. Um, you know what? I need to learn how to, I should already know how to do this, but I need to learn how to search GitHub. Because I actually don't know. Search GitHub. GitHub search. No, there's like a way to search. What? I thought there was like a shortcut to do that. Search source code. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. Maybe I won't do that right now. No, let me try it really quick. I think there's like just like a shortcut key. I just don't know what it is. Um, if anyone's watching this later, let me know. Like if I search up here, it'll search all of GitHub, right? I don't want to do that. Is it? Whatever. But I already have this code downloaded, so that should be in here. Coin ore. So I have all the main project and the dependencies. There's a note to remember to say, talk about the line endings. So, let me see. Uh, yeah, so I just need to open this up in VS Code and then search for this. Let me take a look at this again. I think I was tired when I looked at this before and I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. But so we want read MPS. What does it return? It returns an int. So if we do int, okay, virtual int read MPS. So how do I see the actual code? Um, Actually, I think this is the exact one I'm looking for. Read MPS files. I think this is it. File name. Okay, let's look at next file name. So it calls this. Okay, and that's it. All right, let's look at this. M. M is what? MPSIO. MPSIO. Okay. MPSIO HPP. Hmm. Right. So I just want that file. Let me see. Desktop, new folder, MPSIO, CPP. Where is that? So it's here. Okay. Let's see, read MPS. Tell me this doesn't call another function. I think it does. Deal with file name. Actually, I saw something completely different, but I think this is actually the one I should have been looking at, and it's making me want to do this even less. Deal with file name. I gotta go find that. Not saying this is bad, I just don't wanna deal with it. Um, return read MPS. Oh, that's extension, so dot MPS. Oh. Oh, if extension is not that, I don't know. Um, yeah. So how does this work? MPS card reader, return code. Card reader is new coin MPS card reader? What? I don't know. Okay. So I really don't want to change this code at all. Even more so now. If I have to, I will, but I just don't want to look at that right now. All right. And plus, like I said, the fewer changes to a bunch of files, the better. So What now? Okay, so I do want to create a file. So let's not think about the other way of doing it, which would be create or use the string. Since I know I want to create a file, there are some other issues with that. So, and that's what I was looking at before. I'll get back to that. Dealing with the file system. So Pyodide includes a file system provided by mscripting, which is right here, and I'll get back to that. In JavaScript, the Pyodide file system can be accessed through pyodide.fs, which I already did a minute ago or a little bit ago, which re-exports the mscripting file system API. This again here. Example of reading from the file system. Pyodide run Python with open hello text as fh write. Oh, wait a second. Reading from the file system. Oh, it does. Wait a second. So it does create files with open hello text. Really? Okay. I thought I tried this. Let me go back to just do it right here. And let's run it. Oh, let's publish this and run it. This might not be too bad, actually. There's another issue, but we'll get back to that. So, pyodide.fs.reader. Okay, so it's not creating a file. So I'm doing something wrong, or I'm not understanding this. With open, I did publish, right? Still not seeing it. It's weird. Let me just copy this at the beginning. Let's make this even more basic. Main, load pyodide. I'll just do it right away. Um, let's try that, I guess. And then just to make sure here, just to make sure, I'll say main function. Okay. Actually, that should have already shown up. That time I did not publish, right? Yeah. Okay, main function. No errors. What? Yeah, so that doesn't work. It's weird as I read this before, and I guess I didn't read it well, but I thought you could only write the file system from JavaScript, which is what I got out of what I was reading. And I thought, well, this is still something I probably need to figure out, but even if I get it to write to the file system, which we'll figure out, I still need to figure out how to share files from that system, in the main thread, over into, or share those with the one in the web workers. So that's why I was looking stuff like this up. There's a few different file systems. I believe the default one is this one, and it's like an in-memory file system, I think. Yeah, and this might be an option. I kind of want to avoid this if I can, because it actually writes to IndexedDB, which is not a bad thing, but that might be an option to share. I'm not sure how that works. Another option could be this ProxyFS, which I'll have to look into. No matter what, you have to mount all these, but yeah, I don't understand why. So I'll just show this really quick. Or talk about this really quick. Let me see if this makes sense. Let me see if this makes more sense now that I saw now that I'm understanding it better, maybe. The short answer, so this guy said, is there a canonical example showing how to import export a file with Pyodide? So that I don't care about. Which Python code can be used to access the file content? Okay, that's really the only thing I care about that guy's question. Um, how can, or at least right now, how can we pass this drop file? Which Python code could be used to access the file content? If you have this file as a string object in JavaScript and save it to a variable, you can access it from Python. Then you could write it to the virtual file system inside Wasm using standard Python tools. Okay. So I don't get that. So is he talking about this? It's like there's some code missing before this that it would have been nice to have maybe. So FH, if you have this file as a string object in JavaScript and save it to a variable, you can access it from Python. Or if he just put the variable name, I think he's talking about this FH. All right, let me try that. So from JS import variable name. Interesting. Okay, so let file string something equals string, and then we'll just do in here from JS import, what was it called? Or no, what did it say? From JS import um, file string. Okay. With open example. Okay. Let's try that. So with open, and then we'll call it file string. And then we'll just do W. I'm not sure what the T is. We'll call it test.text test1, and then write contents testing write from Python. Okay, maybe this will work. Main function, okay. fs dot read dir. It's Pyodide. Oh man, I was hoping to see that. Double check, make sure I published. It's also print before. Just make sure this is getting called, I guess. Oh, I called it FH. Let's just add this anyways. Print after. Okay. Okay. Pyodide dot fs dot read there. Still not there. Is it because desktop text? Oh, it's not even saying. Oh, oh yeah, I need to click this. Cannot import name file string from JS. Okay, from JS import file string. So what if I do, what if I just do that? Does that, or var? Does that matter? Let me try this. Okay, before after. Pyodide dot fs dot reader. Okay, well, there's no error, but it still did not write the file, as far as I could tell. Unless that's somewhere else. That might be somewhere else, actually. Hmm, interesting. Where's this? Let's do test.text, test. Let's call that test2. We'll call this file string and file string. Let's see if this makes a difference. I'm thinking because I ran it async, that might matter. So, f still not writing the file, as far as I can tell. I could try that WT. I want to find out what that means first. So Python file open modes. Does not have it. Read only. WT. There we go. Text mode. So it's just text. I mean, I could try it. See. See if it helps. I don't think so. Make sure publish too. Might have forgot that last time. That's still not writing the file. Hmm. That's weird. Okay, and here. Keep reading. Hmm. We tried it without the JavaScript variable, right? And it didn't work. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Let me see, implicit conversions. Nothing really. Hmm. I'm actually gonna leave a note to myself to do this. I could see myself forgetting this, so um, I'll put a link to the page. Can I link to this section? Yeah, just below that. Okay. All right. Made a little bit of progress, I think. Might take a little break, get something to eat. Um, so I have at least made a plan to most likely use the file system, even though I'm probably just doing something just I don't know. It's probably some little thing I'm not seeing, but for some reason I can't get to write a file from Python, even though it appears like you can. If you have this file as a string object in JS and save it to a variable, you can access it from Python with from JS import variable name. Then you can write it to the virtual file system using standard Python tools, and import it by adding, if necessary. You get it as a variable and ensure that down actions, see type conversions. Okay. Alright, let me see what this guy's doing. Oh, let's see. Okay, here's an example up here. So, Pyodide. Read as binary string. Is there any JavaScript or Python code in here? Run Python from JS import content/n content. I mean, maybe I need to just not have the var either. Let's see. Let's try that, I guess. Pyodide. It doesn't matter. Let's see. Window dot. What is it called? File string. It's there. It's an empty string. I mean, does it need to be? You said a string. Does it need to be something else? And what is this? Content slash new line content? I don't get it. Let me see if I can just search their docs for file Python. Probably stop in a minute and do a little bit of testing and then come back with the answer. Um, so what can we search that's good here? Python open. Let me try searching just open with a parenthesis. How about with open? Might be able to click into some of these and see an example, but I was hoping I would see like the title that would be like what I'm looking for. I think I just need to read a little bit more through this documentation and maybe in here a little bit and maybe in here a little bit. So, and maybe Stack Overflow as well. So yeah, I'm gonna try that. Um, take a break for a little bit, get something to eat, and then probably be back a little later. Thanks for watching.